perfect.
Oh my God, the buttons have been pressed. Theoretically, you all can hear us and see us. If you can't do either of those things, there's no way to tell us. But if you can see us but not hear us, let us know. And if you can see us but not, did I just say that? Hear us but not see us, let us know. You get the idea. If one or the other isn't working, now is the time to let us know, because we're just going to keep going otherwise.
100%.
Oh my God. What show is this? This is Mutant Academy. This is the show where we talk about mutants, specifically X-Men movies, released in chronological order. Sal, you ever see those? I know you do. I don't know why I'm asking it rhetorically. You see headlines where they're like, what order should you watch these movies? In release order. Watch them in the order they were released.
That's what they're thinking of. That's how they're thinking of it. Yeah, absolutely. That's the only.
What year was this movie released? Watch it then.
Yep.
The only one I can think about, I've got a few Star Wars friends that are big into like, no, man, you got to watch Clone Wars, the animated series, in chronological order. And it's like one of those, it's like, why? But also, why didn't they release the episode? What was the decision making behind like shotgunning? Like, who knows what timeline this episode takes place in?
Yeah, I don't know. It's
oh my God.
Yeah, especially when like that these guys aren't thinking about that. Like Fox could not care less. Like that timelines. In fact, I would argue that Fox should have been the ones to introduce the multiverse first in the versus DC versus Marvel versus Fox, because Fox is the only one where alternate realities makes more sense to their conflicting narrative than timelines.
You could argue, I see what you're saying, the difference between timelines and realities and stuff like that. And I really wish the people in charge of Marvel and DC and stuff would like really sit down.
Yeah.
And like think. They don't want to, because the second you pin it down, you back yourself into a corner. But like, it doesn't, especially the MCU really could benefit from like, what is the difference between a multiple reality or a timeline, or what was the term thrown around in Loki for like variance?
Variance, yes.
Versus, because I don't know, and if anybody should know, it should be me. I'm watching all these things.
100%. Like, I'm a nerd. I pay attention to this stuff. Please, just tell me.
You could argue, and this is not the movie to do that. Once we get to Days of Future Past, we can argue it, that they do that with Days of Future Past. Although, when we get to the post-credit scene of this movie, it has been a minute since I've seen Days of Future Past. I'm like, I don't know that this post-credit scene actually makes any sense.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It's like they're playing around with the idea of like, let's make a mini movie, or let's make a teaser. Like, they're not considering the larger implications. Like, I'm actually surprised that Days of Future Past was in any way development in light of the post-credit scene. Like, I figured that the post-credit scene was just like, let's get Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart back, and then do the scene, and then just laugh about it later.
Because it's like, the Sentinels were made in the 70s. Again, it's been a minute since I've watched it. We will revisit it once we watch it, which I believe is our next movie.
Yep.
Little business up top. This show is done every third Wednesday live on this channel, youtube.com/onlystupid-answers. If you want to see Sal and I talk about everything Spider-Man, we're in the middle of Spectacular Spider-Man. You can do that over at patreon.com/onlystupid-answers. I said this was on YouTube, right? That's on Patreon. This is on YouTube.
Yeah, that's right.
And also, if you want to listen to the audio version of this instead of watching our beautiful faces, you can do that over on Patreon as well. And yeah, so this is the 6th episode. We're this month we're talking about the Wolverine, which is the second spin-off Wolverine movie. Should have been the first. Would have made so much more sense as the out of the gate. This is the Wolverine movie.
This is the remake. This is a straight up remake. They were like, "Oops, this is a do-over movie."
It is 100% a do-over movie. We're gonna get into some of the development stuff later. We got whole segments and the whole jam. But this is one of those moments where it's like, I feel like all the flaws the MCU has, I feel like they would have handled this better, because I feel, and whatever, it's speculation, who knows? But I feel like they would have had the foresight to be like, okay, X-Men 3, Magneto's going to tear out Wolverine's adamantium.
Right.
Wolverine 1, he's going to have to revisit his origins to figure out how to get his adamantium back, and that we're going to flashbacks to his origin as he figures out
I kind of love that.
that.
Yeah.
And then we do this movie, which, by the way, there is a continuity plot hole.
Yeah.
Off of the first, we're going to rewrite the first Wolverine movie 2 more times after this. So
Seriously. Yeah. No.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah. How many times can we revisit or unmake
Yes.
X-Men Origins Wolverine? Because I know that we do it here.
Yeah.
And I know we also do it in, I guess it's Apocalypse.
Yeah, we do it. We do it in Apocalypse. We do it in Days of Future Past. Days of Future Past is where we officially say, by the way, forget that.
Right.
The one thing we're definitively overwriting is that movie.
Yes.
It is gone now.
Right. Right.
Last thing is super chat. If you want us to read your comment on the air, get it in on that super chat. We'd love to do it. Thank you for everybody joining us live. Go ahead and tweet this out so people can join us.
Yes.
So, as we mentioned up top, this is The Wolverine, which was made in 2013. It was directed by James Mangold, who would go on to do Logan, Ford v Ferrari. I think prior to this, he did the Johnny Cash movie, right? That's correct.
Walk Hard. Yeah.
He did
Walk the Line.
Yeah. Dewey Cox's Walk Hard. Fucking, that movie's fucking great. It's so good. Anyway, Walk Hard, Walk the Line. I have not seen since I saw it in theaters.
No.
And he got, oh my God, I should have put this in my notes. I'm such a hack. Did he get an Academy Award for that movie?
Oh, for Walk the Line? I know that what's her name? Reese Witherspoon got an Academy Award for it. Because I remember thinking Reese Witherspoon doesn't deserve an Academy Award for anything. But but I know she got it for that.
Well, if anything, Legally Blonde should have gotten one for that.
Legally Blonde, I will give a complete hall pass to. That movie is flawless. Also, gave way to an amazing musical.
Yes. Wow. It is crazy. She got an Academy Award for a movie I don't even remember her being in.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's wild to me.
She is she's like woman in movie.
Yeah. To the point where that's a joke in Walk Hard. That's
exactly
jokes. Anyway. Watch Walk Hard, everybody. No, not enough people watch that movie.
Yeah.
It was also nominated for Best Costume Design, Best Film Editing, Best Sound Mixing. Not
Best Director.
Whatever. Anyway, that is all the research I'm going to do for Walk the Line. Anyway, James Mangold directed that movie as well.
Yep.
And what's interesting, I'll save that for the behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
It's written by Mark Bomback and Scott Frank, and the synopsis is: Wolverine comes to Japan to meet an old friend. Old friend whose life he saved years ago and gets embroiled in a conspiracy involving Yakuza and mutants.
That's true. He did do all those things. That's true.
Do all those things. On Rotten Tomatoes right now, it currently has a 70% Rotten Tomatoes score and an audience score of 69%, which has to be the closest I've seen the tomato meter and the audience score ever be.
Right.
They're like spitting distance of each other.
Yeah.
And the synopsis there is: although its final act succumbs to the usual cartoonish antics, The Wolverine is one superhero movie that manages to stay true to the comics while keeping casual viewers entertained.
Yeah, I'd say that's fair.
So for full disclosure, I own the extended version of this. That's the version I watched. I don't know that it is different enough that there will be discrepancies in it's basically bloodier and they say fuck a couple times. That's I think the main difference.
That's cool. All right, great. Yeah. I saw whatever version was available on streaming because I don't own it. Oh wait, I do own it. Oh no. What did I do?
No. Oh no, I rented it. Oh no.
Ah, shit.
Dude, it's been the one bummer about this show is that when I go to it's like fucking Disney owns X-Men. It should be on Disney Plus. And it's like, no, only the ones that you don't want, only the bad ones are here.
Exactly.
Last Stand, Apocalypse, and it's like, fuck, I'm gonna have to rent all these fucking X-Men movies.
Yeah.
Because I did the math of trying to find a box set of them all was not easy, and no, it's gonna be cheaper for me to just rent because I own ones like this one. I own this one.
Exactly. I own my favorites. Yeah.
I
liked this when it came out.
I liked it too, especially if you compare it to X-Men Origins. Like this, comparing it to that, this is a masterwork.
Yep.
For counterpoint, the night before this, I rewatched T2 Judgment Day.
Oh,
Doesn't hold up to that movie, but I don't know that that's a fair comparison. That's one of the best action blockbusters ever made in the history of cinema.
Yeah, I'd argue best. Like,
Yeah.
best action blockbuster in the history of cinema.
Sal, having just watched it, I don't disagree with that. I'm like, this
Yeah.
movie fucking rules. This
It
is
rules.
it's so good.
I saw a young lady on TikTok the other day talk about how she's never seen any Terminator movie.
Yeah.
And so she watched T1 and T2 and she was like,
Perfect.
those hold up.
Stop.
But T2 is better. And I'm like, agreed.
Yeah.
But like, and she's like, I'm good. I don't need to watch anymore. And I'm like, you're right. You're 100% right. Yeah, T2 is perfect.
The only thing I would argue for is if you did want to keep watching, and to be fair, it has been a minute since I've seen it. Terminator: The Sarah Connor Chronicles.
Yeah.
Is actually pretty fucking good.
I knew you were going to say the Sarah Connor Chronicles because it's like the one redheaded stepchild of the Terminator franchise, despite the fact that like every sequel since 2 has been a redheaded stepchild of the franchise.
Yes.
I didn't watch it. I watched like half a pilot and was like, all right, I admit I like this better than any movie I've seen since 2.
Yeah.
And that's enough for me. Literally, I watched it. I'm like, this is going to get canceled soon, and I just stopped watching.
It's honestly, it's shocking. I made it 2 seasons. Like in today's environment, in today's economy, never.
Yeah, no.
But it is rewatching Terminator. How are we talking about Terminator? Rewatching Terminator. John Connor talks a little bit about being on the road with Sarah, and it's like,
yes,
of course you'd make a show out of this. Him just saying the line, it's like, this is interesting. Like,
yes,
life on the run.
Yeah.
And because they didn't have, this was before the days of fucking Ahsoka and Mandalorian, and where we're just shotgunning money and we have a volume. They couldn't do a Terminator movie every week, so they got more conceptual with it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's an episode they reveal Kyle Reese has a brother. He comes back.
Yeah.
And his basically the idea of like fighting a future war in the past. So there's more people that come back. And him and these 2 characters from the future are torturing a guy in the past, and they realize as they're talking to this guy in the present that because she came back later than him, they have different memories of the future. They're because they've been rewriting it, and it's like,
that's clever. That's stuff. Cool. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree. Yeah. That's cool. If you're gonna do anything with it, do that as opposed to anything they've done.
I have not watched it in years, so who knows? And perfect segue back to the Wolverine. Rewatching it back to back with other X-Men movies, really enjoyed it at the time. At the time, I before we did this episode, I might have argued that, and this might still be the case. I haven't rewatched Logan. At the time, I was like, I think I enjoyed the Wolverine more than Logan. Watching it this time, I was like, okay, there's things, right? So we open the movie in the grand tradition of X-Men movies with a horrific human tragedy that we're recontextualizing as a formative moment for one of our main characters. So Wolverine and like the Auschwitz scene, it's like when I like step out of the movie, I'm like, is this okay? Like when I'm in the movie, it fucking works.
It does. It completely works. Yeah. It's frustrating how good it works. I'm like, I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, and there's a scene later, we'll get to it, but there's a scene later that I do think that they are more on top of it than I was worried they were going to be. But we're not there yet. But anyway, the setup basically is Wolverine is a prisoner of war in a Japanese prison camp that is like literally spitting distance from Nagasaki. Don't know if that was a thing. But
couldn't say.
And there are warning sirens, and this one Japanese soldier is freeing prisoners, despite what is implied the other Japanese soldiers are trying to prevent that. But he's like, hey, something's happening. It is unclear to me whether we are supposed to understand that these people are aware of what's going to happen, specifically Logan, because he's like, you're not, when he's freeing people, he like, Logan's in like a well.
Right.
Yeah. He's like, which knowing his abilities, like, yeah, that's what you do to that guy. You can't kill him. He's got claws. You throw him in a pit and you put a
lid on it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But Logan says to him, like, the guy frees him and he's like, you're safer in here. And it's unclear to me, is Logan somehow aware of what's about to happen?
I think Logan helped to like either pave the way or help deliver. Like, I think Logan he is acutely aware the bomb is coming. Okay. So I think he's involved in it in some way.
That's interesting. Yeah, because I looked it up and I didn't, because I'm a dumb American. I don't know the timeline from the brief research I did. Hiroshima and Nagasaki happened in the same day.
Yes.
So it's not like Hiroshima happened. We all know it's a thing now. It's like, no, boom, boom.
Yeah.
So, but maybe because he specifically mentions the type of plane it is. So he might not know the scale.
Right, but he knows
like,
a bomb
that's
is
a
coming.
bomb guy.
Yeah, but Logan seems to almost like he's a time traveler. Like, he is like,
Yes.
that's a big one.
That's the big. By the way, I've read the history book. I read the script, so I know what's going to happen now.
Right.
You should come in here.
You should get in this. But even though, and that's always the thing that throws me off whenever I watch any movie that has like nuclear weapons in it. I'm always like, okay, like if you survive the blast, you'll never survive the fallout.
Yeah.
But they always do, and they just ignore it. They're like, well, the bomb went off already.
Well,
and I'm like, yeah, but isn't there like a inhospitable amount of radiation throughout? Like, shouldn't they all be dead no matter what?
Which, yeah, especially the movie tries to account for that in that they don't leave the well. I don't know that radiation knows, like, oh, that's a hole. I shouldn't go down there.
No, but like, shouldn't, even if they did get out of the hole, like, how long are you going to wait? 100 years?
Yeah.
Like,
well, and that's something, and this is where the movie gets some leeway out of lack of my own knowledge of this stuff.
Yes.
I do know, like in Chernobyl, wildlife is flourished, not because the radiation's not there, but it moves in like waves.
Right.
And so like there's pockets where you're fine, and somehow from what I understand, animals kind of have an innate understanding of that, which is fucking wild to me.
That is wild.
And so I guess, and people did survive these blasts, not a lot, but like some. So there's enough nebulousness there that like I can't pick this apart in a good way. So I guess, movie, you get a pass on my X-Men show.
Exactly.
So anyway, he and the other thing, even before we get to the radiation, Sal, he's like outrunning the blast, and I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I feel like if you're gonna, I don't know. I think that you'd think everybody gives James Mangold like a lot of credit, and I'm like, I mean, but he did have you outrun a nuclear blast. I mean, like, I don't know.
Yeah,
like it's a little silly.
It is, again, compared to X-Men Origins Wolverine, this is a masterpiece.
Yes.
It is, but there's moments that are great, but there's a lot of it that is very silly.
Yes.
Silly.
It's almost like it's at odds. Like there's two scripts. There's a goofy version, and then there's the like very serious one.
Yeah.
And they just went like, okay, like every third page, just swap them.
Yeah. So he grabs who we will come to learn is Yoshida, throws him in the well with him, and he uses, I guess, a piece of metal. I just realized I thought it was the lid, but the lid wouldn't be able to fit down there. It's just a grate or something that he uses to shield him, and then Wolverine eats up most of the blast down the well, and he heals. And what we will learn later is they chilled in the well for an indeterminate amount of time until Wolverine sensed that the radiation was clear enough.
I'll let it I'll let that slide. The idea of Wolverine's sense of being like, yeah, no, it's okay.
I can smell the radiation. Sure, man. I mean, you just survived. Nuclear blast. Taylor Peterson sending some coin our way. We appreciate it
very much, Taylor.
Before we leave it, how does this scene make you feel? Should they have included this scene in Oppenheimer, Sal?
I mean, if we're gonna get like a scene that is supposed to be like a Marvel Universe cameo of Einstein and Oppenheimer,
then
we might as well also be like, yeah, let's throw a bone to Wolverine too. Wolverine was there.
Yeah. Oh my guess. Taylor Patterson says, my best guess. He always knew the bomb was dropping because of his animal instincts. But again, you get a lot of pass with those animal instincts. Yeah. So we cut to a memory within a dream. Logan is having a dream about Jean.
Okay.
Good job for Famke Jensen getting a paycheck to just like lay down. Like, lay around.
Also, I don't know how, but she looks better and younger than she does in X-Men 3.
Yeah. He has a dream about Jean. He's made a vow that he's not going to hurt anybody ever again, and then he stabs the shit out of her in the dream.
This is my biggest gripe with the movie. My biggest gripe with the movie is that Wolverine has an unrequited love affair with Jean Grey's ghost, and that Jean represents, like, I don't know if Jean, obviously it's not Jean, right? It's not like Jean's ghost. It's not the Phoenix Force messing with him. It's Wolverine's insecurities or his like his self-doubt or his hate. but it's like his death wish made manifest, right?
Mhm.
But also the movie made they cast Famke Janssen to come back. So like they
Yeah.
want you to think that this is Jean, but also like she never loved you.
Yeah.
Like she never kissed you.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like and now you're like dreaming of her.
Yeah.
Like if you go to the afterlife, if there is an afterlife in the X-Men universe, she's
Yeah.
already with Scott
Yeah. Yeah, because he's dead. Oof,
because
good
he's dead
point.
too. Like
He's dead too. Good
what
point.
do you think this is going to be? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like and obviously he doesn't think about afterlives. It's just like I just want to die. But like this whole motivation of Jean, it works narratively in this movie. But if
Yes.
you think about it in context, the rest of it, it's just kind of like, I hate
Yeah.
this.
And again, this is why this is the bummer when we relegate this stuff to movies. Is it's hard to have the same amount of runway to lay down, establish the framework of like, is there something there? Because it's like those
Right.
movies never like when he's like, "I love you." It's like when did
Like from
that happen,
why?
man? Yeah, like when did like you had a crush on her? I get that. And if
Yeah.
we hadn't bungled origin so hard, this could have been Silver Fox. You
Oh
could have
yeah.
it could have been Silver Fox Jean, pick another late, you know what I mean? Like
Absolutely. No, I
um
completely agree.
CJ Hall says, C pop woo. What's up,
Ooh.
DJ? You guys rock. No, you rock.
But
So
yeah, man.
yeah, it's yeah, I agree with you in that I don't know in the movie this really works. The idea that to the degree that it almost makes Last Stand better, in that if you are able to buy into Wolverine loved this person, he did have to kill her to stop her.
Yes.
By the way, this movie's banking hard that you have seen that movie and you know that movie.
Yeah.
Um, that conceptually really works within this movie. In the context of the other X-Men movies, you're right. It's like I don't know that we did the work,
Yeah.
but
No.
here I think it works well enough. So what we find out is Logan's living as a caveman in the woods. He's got a bear friend that will then be in one of many times where it's like there's too many layers to this. You do
Yes.
another pass on the script to streamline it. So, and correct me if I'm missing something here.
Yeah.
When Logan goes down into the town, local town,
Yeah.
he runs into hunters that we find out went back later, and I guess used poison tipped arrows on a bear
Uh-huh.
that they didn't follow up with, and then it was crazed and attacked them
It
and
attacked
killed the hunter.
them. It
Yeah.
attacked them, but it then attacked another group of people.
Did it?
Yeah, because like, well, maybe it grew. I guess the hunters had a bigger party.
Yeah, because it was like 4 or 5 of them, and then only one lives. And
Yes,
then Logan's pissy about it because they use poison tipped arrows, which is just a silly concept. I don't. Maybe that's a thing, but
it's
like
in the
most would
comic. It's
use.
in like the Wolverine book that this is kind of very loosely based off of. Does also do the poison tip arrow bear thing. I
Okay,
was like, what?
so
But
and this is I thank you for that because I have not. I am aware of the iconic
sure, yeah, no, of course.
Claremont Miller comic, but
If
I
they had
haven't
just
read
done
it.
that, I don't understand why they don't just do that. Like, you know, how long could this script for like how long could the script for the Wolverine be?
Yeah, yeah,
Right, like
yeah,
120 pages. You
yeah,
know, maybe.
yeah.
Just take the comic book and be like that, and
Well,
just
here's my one issue, and I think this is a good example of it, and I haven't read it, so you can help clarify. Obviously, Claremont and Miller are icons.
yeah,
I don't know that they're the most elegant creators in the medium. You know what I mean? And so
right.
I think this is an example of like poison tip arrows are silly to me. So like cut that. I don't like we just have them be hunter and they hunted Wolverine's bear friend and he's pissy about it. That's enough. I think
Right.
that's enough
Yeah, yeah, but
justification.
they need to have done something cruel. Like it has to be that they're not like they're incompetent
Yeah.
and also cruel so that like the carnage that is wrought by the bear is not the bear's fault. You know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
the
I
audience
get
won't
that.
just buy that it's like the audience will not accept if like a tiger mauls a person at the zoo,
Mhm.
right? But like if well we need to not villainize the bear, and that's
Yeah.
how we do it. That's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
quickest
Yeah.
way we do that.
Yeah, I get it. And I also think it's a way to justify Wolverine going back. But I don't and this is kind of my one issue with the Hugh Jackman depiction of Wolverine is especially as at this point in the franchise, there's a lot
Uh-huh.
of effort spent to make him nicer
Yes.
And I don't necessarily think that is necessary for the character.
No, well, the movie Wolverine is only like gruff and miserable because of like a woman,
Yeah.
which is always
Yeah.
frustrating. But like,
And
yeah,
I think there should be an element, and it's hard to do with Hugh Jackman because he's so handsome and charismatic.
yes,
Um,
yes,
he's Hugh fucking Jackman, right?
uh-huh.
But it's like I do think, and it's something we'll talk about this later, and we've talked about this before, but I hope the MCU is able to tap into, because they don't need the entire MCU is not resting on the shoulders of Wolverine, unlike this franchise.
100%.
Yeah, so I think there's more room for like Wolverine should be kind of scary. He's
Yes,
on our side and he's likable, but it's also like, maybe on a bad day, maybe give him some space.
yes. Like I want to see like in the MCU, it'd be fun to see like Wolverine part of the X-Men.
Yeah.
Like obviously, I see everything through the lens of Spider-Man. So like let's say that.
Yeah.
You got the X-Men. They spring into action. The Blackbird lands. They kick. They destroy the Sentinels. Wolverine's part of the team. He's got the matching colors. He's da da da. Spider-Man then automatically assumes that he's like an Avenger.
Yeah.
So that when Wolverine is alone wearing like his flannel at a bar, and there's a bar fight, and Spider-Man shows up and tries to like pal around with him.
Yeah.
It gets really intense and really scary really fast. And he's like, "What is your problem?
Yeah.
I thought you were like Iron Man or something." And he's like, "I am not. I am like a mascot."
Because if you recall, for people that read the comics specifically, New X-Men, I guess 20 years ago at this point, I don't remember when that first came out. But if I recall correctly, the reason Wolverine gets looped into the New X-Men is Cap and Iron Man are like, hey, if we have another Scarlet Witch situation, we need somebody on the team that can take care of that shit.
100%. Someone who's not going to feel like bad about it.
Yeah. And it's like, so basically we're talking about somebody that's like a step or two away from the Punisher. Not a psycho.
Nope.
But,
an assassin.
Yeah. Anyway, so like a little bit of that energy. Anyway, whatever. He takes care of the Hunter guy. He's picked up by Yukio, played by Ryla Fukushima.
She's great.
She's fantastic in this movie. She also played Katana in Arrow. She was in Game of Thrones for like a minute, and I haven't seen her since. I'm hoping she has like a huge career in Japanese cinema.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Also, is she the same Yukio that's in the Deadpool movie?
Oh my god, I don't know. I will have to wait.
I mean, not the same actor, obviously, but like
no, but like the same character. Oof, who knows?
Yeah.
Oh, we haven't gotten into all the continuity rewrites Deadpool's done on its own.
How many Colossus do we have?
For joke purposes. So he's kind of prevented from hurting them more by Yukio. She picks him up. She explains that she works for Yoshida, who's the soldier guy from World War II, who wants to meet Logan in Japan. Logan's all pissy about it. Here's the only major continuity area, because this movie blissfully is very standalone. It is its own thing.
Thankfully, I really appreciate it.
But having seen X-Men Origins Wolverine should not know who the fuck this guy is, right?
No, because he's got an adamantium bullet to the head. Yeah, absolutely. Although maybe no, you know what? Let's say that he did more work with Charles during X-Men 3.
Okay.
And he like bridged some of the gaps in his memory. Remember, like the whole reason why he joins the X-Men in the original franchise is so that he can get his memories back.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that Professor X helped restore them.
I love it. I'll take that answer. Yeah, sure. Again, missed opportunity if we had just flushed Wolverine 1 down the toilet. Like that could have been the story of him getting his memories back. Anyway, oh man, we just flushed 2 movies with 3 in Origins. That's a bummer. So, this is where we start like explicitly talking about the fact that Wolverine maybe wants to die. He wants an honorable death. And she's like, you want an honorable death. You're in pain. He's like, who says I'm in pain? It's like, look at you. Look in a mirror, man. And then he said, and as somebody that hates flying, he says he'll meet Yoshida for a day. And the second he said that, I'm like, bitch, do you know how long it takes to get to Japan?
Right? Yeah, dude. No,
it's been a week, dude. Like, make a trip out of it. And then to drive that home, we learn it's a 15-hour flight. And it's like, yeah, man, stay more than a day.
Yeah. You're gonna lose at least a day just to travel alone, man.
Oh my god. Oh
Yeah.
my god. It's one of the main reasons. Like, I would love to go to Japan. I have friends in Japan. I'm
Yeah.
not getting on that fucking flight. Are you fucking kidding me?
I know. It's a real bummer. I want to take my wife to go to Japan, but
Yeah.
I'm also just like, God.
Yeah.
First, I gotta fly to California.
Mm-hmm.
Then I
Oh
gotta
yeah,
fly
it's
to
worse for you.
Japan.
Jeez. Have you ever seen Midnight Run with Robert De Niro?
It's been a long time. I don't know
All
if
right.
I've seen it or not.
There's a bit. Robert De Niro plays a bounty hunter, and he's got to take this guy across country. And there's a bit where we learn later that this guy is faking it, but the guy he's trying to take is deathly afraid of flying, and it's so fucking funny. And for me, very relatable. You can look it up online. Just look up Midnight Run plane scene. It's worth the time.
Nice.
Also watch the movie. The movie's really good. I think it's on Netflix right now. Okay. So he agrees to go for a day after a 15-hour flight there. It is a private jet, which is a little cozier.
Which is way better. I'll take that.
Yeah.
If I have to do 15 hours, I'll take 15 hours on a private jet.
It's the one thing, man. Like, fucking billionaires are flying around on the private jets for no fucking like to go 2 miles or whatever.
Right? I'll take the 15-hour flight.
Yeah, it's wrecking our environment. But the person that hates commercial flying in me sees the inside of those private jets, and it's like, yeah, man, if I could do that to go to Florida or something.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Just a nice first class. If I wasn't so fucking broke.
Seriously, the nice first class is enough, but like that private jet, yeah.
Dude, when I saw Crazy Rich Asians, and you see the plane, they're going like their version of first class to go over, and like, I'll do that.
Yeah,
how much is that? I'll do that.
Right. Yeah, they're like thousands of dollars.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know. So we learned they land in Japan. We basically learned that Yoshida is basically Japan's Tony Stark. When I wrote that note, it didn't occur to me how true that is by the time we get to the end of the movie. But he's big tech guy. We get a little exposition dump about that. We go to their little compound. We meet Yoshida's son, who is Shinjin, who is played by Hiroyuki Sanada, who's one of the coolest motherfuckers in movies.
Yes.
He is wasted here because I don't think they knew what they had when
100%
when they had it.
Yep.
But it's like he was perfectly cast as Scorpion in the new Mortal Kombat and then wasted in that movie.
Yep.
He's the guy that Hawkeye takes down in Endgame. He's in Westworld. More recently, we've learned how great he is. So he's got a big part in Bullet Train. He was in the most recent John Wick.
Nice. Good. Okay. Took him long enough. I feel bad.
Yeah,
they just didn't know.
And the only reason he's not like more impressive in John Wick is because his main fight scenes with Donnie Yen, and it's like, well, nobody's gonna look good next to Donnie Yen. Keanu Reeves doesn't look good. They had to make Donnie Yen's character blind just to make you, as an audience member, be like, I guess maybe somebody could beat him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's great, and he's good in this. But who is the? Help me out here, Sal.
Yeah,
and I know there's been more than one. This isn't a fair question to ask you, but at least in the Claremont run, do you remember who Silver Samurai? Is it Shinjin?
No. Well, yes. It's supposed to be. Well, Harada is the Silver Samurai.
Okay. All right.
No, it's supposed to be Kenichio Harada. Is the Silver Samurai. Although I think there have been multiple Silver Samurais, but
But it did make me bummed that we don't get a more. Spoilers. I don't really like the robot at the end.
No, it's terrible.
It makes me bummed we didn't get a more traditional Silver Samurai, and it wasn't played by Hiroyuki Sanada. It's like, ooh, that'd be so good.
No, it needed to be him.
Yeah,
and it wasn't. I agree.
Also,
this feels like a Ninja Turtles like Michael Bay situation where it was like, was he originally the Silver Samurai?
Yes, you definitely.
And then they like reshot it.
Yeah, there's some, or even at the more granular scripting stage where there's a version, because I'll tell you right now,
it's too messy.
There's too many characters. There's too many competing motivations. I think Harada is the ninja guy, and his motivations are indecipherable. Like, I don't.
Oh my god, he's all over the place.
And you could just cut the character. You just cut him out. Like, and also because we're about ready to meet Mariko, who is Yoshida's granddaughter. She gets 2 boy toys, basically. Like, she's like engaged to one guy, but then the ninja guy was her boyfriend. It's like, combine the characters.
Yes,
them. I don't like get them.
No, absolutely combine them. You make the boy toy like the idiot like rich guy, actually he was her friend, and then like
Yeah.
he came into money and he became an asshole. Either way, the other problem for me is the dad grandpa thing, because like
Yeah.
they just added a grandpa.
Yeah.
Like in the comic, it's just her father.
And it should be, because it
Like
makes it, we'll get
it,
into it later. It makes it
it's weird.
slightly less creepy.
It does,
If
yeah,
it's the daughter, there's not a version of this that it's not a
a little creepy.
Wolverine bangs his best friend's granddaughter. Well, it's not his best friend. It's a pal of his, but it's like,
Right.
that's weird. It's like the vampire, like Edward Cullen shit in Twilight. It's like, wait a
Yeah.
second.
Right? Like, why are you scoring around high schools? You know, why don't
That's
you go
weird.
to a library or something?
Yeah. Get somebody. Obviously, there's nobody your age around, but like, shoot a little bit higher. Is all I'm saying. Lenny Laserdiscs says, I really enjoy the use of the song "Cracker" by Low during the bear killing interrogation scene in the bar. Great song and fun movie. I didn't catch that. Thank you.
Me either. Actually, I didn't even know there was a song playing.
I was too hung up on the poison arrows. I also think there might be a draft. You know what? I actually don't think I agree with this, because I think you could merge Yukio and Mariko. However, I like that Yukio is not.
I like the two of them.
Yeah, is not romantically involved with Wolverine, because she's more in tradition of, especially what we love in these movies, the Kitty Pryde, Rose, Jubilee. Listen, Wolverine's a daddy. All right, he's he's very 100%. That's you can make him scary, but he is nurturing specifically.
Yes, yeah, he can't. Well, you know what that is? He's an animal.
Yeah.
He is only emotion. He's rage. He is protection.
Yeah.
No.
So anyway, we meet Mariko. It is Shinjin's daughter, which makes her Yoshida's granddaughter. Logan gets a bath and a haircut to get his classic Wolverine hair.
I don't know what they call this, but I always love it in movies where it's like the glow up, where they go like, all right, let's, we do it in The Fugitive when he shaves the beard and dyes the hair. We do it in this. We do it in every movie where it's like a character is disheveled. Oh, there's that great moment in The Rock.
Yeah,
when Sean Connery gets the haircut and everything.
Yeah, we can't have you looking like a ratty piece of shit the whole movie. Come on.
Exactly, we got to glow you up. And I'm like, I don't know why, but I always love him, and it's just it's a crowd pleaser. I love it in Die Another Day, a terrible movie, but when when Pierce Brosnan gets all cleaned up, looks great.
And something that all those movies have in common, they are dad movies. And I think James Mangold is the king of the dad movie. And I think there's a little bit of that here, and I think maybe even more so in Logan, but again, it's been a minute since I've seen it. But the dad movie, dads want to be gruff, but they also need to look presentable.
That's right. That's right. Well, all it takes is one like one well-placed butler or like woman.
Yeah.
And suddenly I look like the best version of myself.
Exactly. Suddenly it looks like I have a professional makeup and hair team.
Right.
Look like I can be in the trailers for movies.
100%.
So he goes in to see Yoshida, who's almost like a weird future bed thing. And like it's an older actor, but he's CGI to look even older and more messed up.
Yeah.
I think for just one scene later in the movie. But anyway,
yep, that's right.
Just to justify one scene later. We meet one of Yoshida's doctor, who is clearly a
bad guy.
Yeah, specifically Viper, played by Svetlana. Here we go. Yes. Kodchenkova.
That ain't her voice.
What?
That ain't her voice.
In the whole movie?
I think the whole movie, it's a dub. I think that she's a completely different actor. I remember being like really thrown off, like seeing this in theaters and being like, this chick's voice to face ratio is insane.
Yeah.
And then I looked at, I literally Googled it today. I'm like, all right, is Viper dubbed by somebody? And the internet was like, probably.
Maybe. Ooh,
like, no, definitely.
Histories and mysteries.
Yeah.
So Yoshida friend. This movie does not give it pretends like it wants you to not know who the bad guy is, but literally up front, Yoshida's like, hey man, you're tired of being immortal, right? How about you give your immortality to me? And it's like, that's villain shit. That's
100%. It's not even a subtlety at all.
Yeah.
It's just
and he's like, no, man, you'll live a whole life, and then eventually you'll fucking die.
Yeah.
So I wish Wolverine was like, no, listen, I've been around for a while. I'm fine. I'm in a little blue period. These go in cycles, okay? You know?
I do this a lot. Yeah.
You get bored for a while and then you get back into it and you find a thing and it's fine.
Yeah.
So while they're there, Mariko gets in a little spat with her dad that apparently is intense enough that she goes to jump off of a ledge, and Wolverine keeps her from doing that.
Yeah.
And then we find out that Yukio was basically kind of like a pet for Mariko. Like she was poor and they found her and they're like, hey, Mariko can't make friends, so we're gonna buy you to be her friend, essentially.
Right? But I also like that. Like it gives you understand everybody's roles and you understand like the motivations for everybody and how they feel and like what place they're in and Wolverine being like, I am so on the outside of this, like I don't even know what the hell I'm looking at. Like,
well, and the cool thing weird here, I think a smart thing here, I don't know what the justification was in the Claremont run, but the cool thing here is that like Logan's not like a weeb. Like he interacted with this guy once. Right. And now the guy's been upset. And so it's not like Wolverine's like, I'm way into
Japanese culture, you guys.
He's not Frank Miller. He's not like, ooh, Japanese culture. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No.
And it helps skirt past any like appropriation. Not that this movie doesn't have that stuff, but it's not Logan's fault. It's not like Logan doing it. Like
he's not asking for this. No, it's true. He is an unwilling participant in this whole ride.
Al Ziadi says, overall, I enjoy this movie, but I don't understand why they didn't just do the comic. It's better, and it's not like it's heavily reliant on continuity.
That's true. There is there's an end. When we talked about the ending, hopefully I'll remember, because I really want to talk about like how much better the ending to the comic is to this and how they could have easily done this.
I'll hold you to that. I'll hold you to that. So we have another dream about Jean, which segues into Viper kissing Wolverine and dumping, clearly like injecting something into his body. And then he's like, oh, it must have been a dream. I'm not going to look into this. And then Yoshida's mysteriously dead. Notably, Yukio didn't see it. I forgot to mention she has
mutant powers. Yeah.
which is that she can just see how people die, which is kind of a bummer of a power.
The messed up power. I love it because also like not every mutant power is going to be awesome wings or butcher's knives. It's going to be like, I only know when it's going to rain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can you make it rain? No.
I just am aware when it is going to happen. I can make money off of it, but it's not like the coolest.
Yeah.
So there's a scene earlier on between Shinshin and Yoshida where the movie at least pretends to make like, could it have been him? Come on, man. It's really a feint. But anyway,
it is. It really is.
They go to the funeral. Logan spots a very conspicuous ninja guy on a roof. Like
ninja, ridiculous. like a Foot Clan ninja.
Yes, and he's just chilling on a roof, and it's like, you're a ninja guy. Couldn't you be like? I think you could play the scene a little less silly. Or like Wolverine does like his little sniff and looks around, doesn't see anything, but then we as an audience member sees ninja guys hidden there. And it's like, got it.
That'd be great.
That's not what we do. He's just like there. Like, literally anybody could look up and see this guy just chilling.
Yeah, it's broad daylight.
Roof.
Yeah, he's very conspicuous.
This is where like, and I've never been to Japan. I don't live in Japan, but having watched a lot of these movies, it does get a little bit of that like, ooh, Japan is foreign, mysterious. Like, no, it's just another city. Ninjas are hanging out on roofs. Like a normal Japanese person who sees a ninja guy on a roof, that's going to be weird to them.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, they're no matter what, they're going to be like, what the? Oh man, is that going to be like, oh man, ninjas again?
Yeah, and I feel like, listen, in every one of these movies, the Yakuza are just bursting out of the woodwork, and I've always gotten the impression, not that they're not there, but you're as likely to run into a Yakuza as I am to run into a mafioso. Like, it's not like they don't exist, but I'm not like tripping. I mean, Japan's small. Maybe I'm wrong, but it just felt like, and listen, I love this shit too. Katana's the Yakuza, all that shit. I'm fucking way into it. I'm playing the new Mortal Kombat game. They've made Kenshi a Yakuza swordsman. It's fucking cool. Yeah. I'm just saying.
No, I hear you. I'm on board. I'm on the same page.
I wish we did this more. I would love a Japanese made movie where a Japanese character goes and joins the Italian mafia. Like, I would love to see how Japan views American gang culture. Like, what is
Right?
that? I want to see what we do to every other culture. I want to see how cultures do that to us. That would
Yeah.
be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Logan notices all this stuff. Basically, the Yakuza are all over this funeral. A big fight breaks out. And here's one thing I will say, and then put a pin in this. Ninja guy, played by Will Yoon Lee, is helping. He like, I would dedicate everything to protect Mariko, and he's like Hawkeyeing his way, arrowing. Ninja guys, Yukio's fighting. Mariko does some fighting stuff. Her fighting stuff is always the least believable. Yukio's great in every fight scene. Like I believe that girl could kick my ass. Mariko, it's like, all right.
Mariko is the princess.
Yes.
She is they literally put her in a tower at the end of the movie.
Yep. Good point. Good fucking point. But here's something specifically, we're gonna get two basic action scenes back to back. This one, they fight in the funeral, and then it spills into Tokyo, and then they end up landing on a bullet train, where then another fight breaks out. Both of those action scenes, I think, is so far, might be my favorite set pieces in any of these X-Men movies.
Yeah, I want to say, like, I remember loving the bullet train scene, but watching it, I'm like, they love it more than I do. They're very impressed with themselves about it, but I'm like, they're like they actually make fun of it a little bit in their own way, like when they're on the roof, and and there's signs, and so they're jumping, and then Wolverine fakes out one of them, and then they just jump into a sign. I was like, that's fun. Doesn't justify the whole thing, but also like they're like, we're in Japan, bullet trains. All I could think of was Spider-Man 2. All I could think of was the Doc Ock train scene.
That's fair, but I'm into it.
It's cool. I do admit it's cool.
I will say I do faintly remember feeling like, and I don't know now, I might be conflating it for other Wolverine action scenes in other movies. It feeling like the action in the funeral scene was choppy, but I watched the extended version, so he's like chopping off limbs and there's blood and shit.
No, it is choppy. So yeah,
that version did not feel that way. I was like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah,
so
I like. Yeah,
finish it up.
Oh, I just liked how we start at the funeral, we go to the bullet train, we keep going like this. It's like 3 fight scenes chained together.
Yes.
Which I was like, that's what this movie should be. That's what every Wolverine movie should be. Good idea.
Well, and again, it doesn't help. I was watching T2, and the pacing of that movie between action and exposition,
a masterclass.
Perfect. And so this movie, where it's like very exposition heavy up top, then we have a condensation of action scenes, and then a lot of nothing. It's like, whoa, I think you could do another pass on this where you kind of streamline some of this, maybe pace it out a little bit better.
Right. But the only problem is no info is going to be gleaned on top of a moving train.
Yeah, that is very true. Yeah, that is very true. So they end up going to one of those infamous Japanese sex hotels. They get the Mission to Mars room.
I like that a lot. It's really funny because of how awkward it is and how like Wolverine is so out of place and he doesn't even know they exist. Like we, as like, pop cultural connoisseurs, are aware of what a love hotel is. Wolverine doesn't even get it.
Yeah.
And then he finds out he's in it. He's in one. And then he's like, I mean, in my usual adventures, I will bang whatever woman I'm with.
Yes.
But I feel like that's an inappropriate situation I'm in right now.
Yeah.
Like, it's really cool. It's just, I think it really works.
Yeah. I'm like over 100 years old. You're like maybe 20.
I know. It's weird.
Yoshida's daughter.
Yeah.
So there's another ambush at the he has a Vision of Gene in the middle of Vision Gene. There's a Yakuza ambush, and I should mention this is a huge plot point. Through these action scenes, it becomes very clear that Wolverine's healing factor is not working so great.
That's right. That's right.
It's not gone. He's taking shotgun blasts to the chest. It's just not doing what it normally does.
Yeah, we're doing the thing that you do in a superhero movie or a superhero movie sequel.
Yeah.
Which is take their powers away.
Take their powers away.
Which I hate.
We'll get into this more when I think when we talk about what I think the MCU should take from this movie. Yeah. I'm just a believer of like, it's the same thing. Weirdly, I feel like Wolverine and Superman specifically share a lot in this thing where it's like, we got to depower them. They're too powerful. It's like, or just make them less powerful. Like they're fictional. Like you can do and I think that for me, that mostly comes from, I want Patch.
Yeah.
And how do you explain patch? And I think you could do it in a scene where like Wolverine's wearing an eye patch and somebody's like, I thought you had super healing, and he looks at them and he's like, well, how fast do your eyes grow back?
Right, exactly.
And
Mine
it's like
do at all.
mine's growing back. It's just taking a while, but yours would just be gone.
Yeah, right. You'd be blind.
Yeah. So maybe he's not surviving nuclear blasts and shit, but he still has the healing factor. And I think you have an easy explanation for that too, which is, and they get into, I think they do key into this on Logan.
Yeah.
Maybe Wolverine's healing factor pre-adamantium is like instantaneous, super great. But adamantium is poisonous.
Right.
So great, his bones are unbreakable, but also the counterpoint of that is his healing factor is not as good as it used to be.
Right, because it's constantly working. It's constantly working to not poison his body.
Yes.
That'd be cool. I like that a lot, actually.
Yeah.
That's
and then you can add the added layer of like that means he's also kind of constantly in pain, like just low level pain.
Why he's always like such a miserable bastard. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So that's just, but the way we explain it here is whatever. Viper put he's got a on his heart. Yeah.
He has one of those things that like looks for you in Minority Report, or a thing that's in your body from Matrix.
We love that shit, man. We love the we love the little spider robots, just like we love the trolls from Lord of the Rings that we make Doomsday and we make every other monster. Like for some reason, Hollywood keys off of a normally pretty basic design, and they're like, let's just use that for everything.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you guys remember when you hired Stan Winston to do shit?
Right.
And like Predator doesn't look like Alien, doesn't look like the Terminator.
Yeah, everything looks distinct and interesting.
Yeah, what about that? What about it? Doesn't matter so much in this one because it's just a stupid little gizmo. But
it's associated with Viper, one of my least favorite things about this movie. So
yeah.
Whatever.
Why is she in the movie? Anyway, and this is the other thing. I should save it for the MCU talk, but it does make you long for a potential future where it's like, in the future, if we did this movie, Viper could be part of Hydra, and the ninjas could be the hand.
I know, man. That kills me.
You could have a Daredevil cameo in this movie, and it'd be fucking great.
Yep. Completely agree.
Anyway, I always feel like, and I couldn't remember this watching the movie, I always feel like in my brain, my 90s kid brain, when I was like picking up comics, there was always three characters fighting the hand.
You're right.
Wolverine, Daredevil, and was it Ghost Rider? I know he's not associated with the hand, but I always feel like there was a third guy that
fought the hand.
That fought the hand with like Wolverine.
I don't know. I always saw like maybe it's Hydra, because it's always, for me, Wolverine fought Hydra quite a bit, but also it was like Captain America and
Wolverine and Cap teaming up to fight Hydra. And I think what
Iron Fist.
Iron Fist. All right.
Yeah. Elektra also fought the hand. So
and I think what I'm thinking of is like we love to pair, it's the 90s. So it's like Wolverine and Ghost Rider and Venom are hanging out. You know what I mean? Like,
I want to see that. Yeah.
So I don't think it was so much a hand associated person, because again, just like Hydra, the hand are just faceless
villains. That's right. They're just red ninjas. That's all you need. Yep.
So after this ambush, Logan's hurting pretty bad. Mariko takes him to the owner of the sex hotel's son, who is a veterinarian student, which is all fine. I do like the joke where he's really jumping around Logan, and she's like, "Yeah, you might have cut him a little bit while he was working on him." Like, that's kind of funny.
I like that a lot.
Yeah,
it's cool.
We get a scene where Viper meets Harada, who's the ninja guy. She's just to catch you all up, she's like spitting venom into people's face and licking them with lizard tongue. She's basically Mortal Kombat's Reptile in hot supermodel form. Like that's what we're doing with Viper.
Yeah.
She meets with Harada. And again, so Harada, what we'll learn in this movie, Harada grew up with Mariko and he wants to protect her, but he also works with Clan Yoshida, which means he's working with Viper. I don't know just Harada's confusing to me.
Yeah. He's a mess. He's too many things.
Yeah.
And like he is the other guy.
Yeah.
Like he loves Mariko.
Yeah.
That's what we want. I don't know. He's a mess. And he's stupid.
Yeah. He's kind of dumb. And then we also have another stupid guy that's associated with Mariko. You could have cleaned this up, is my point.
I know, right? Yeah.
Too many cooks in the kitchen, literally within this movie. not literally, it's figuratively, but I'm not talking about the writers. I'm talking about characters. Too many characters in this movie.
Right.
So Mariko takes Logan to Nagasaki. This is where we learn the backstory with her and Harada. They used to be, and again, if people that live in Japan or from Japan or whatever, this sounds like some American bullshit. They were village champions. Him with arrows, her with knives. And it's like, wait, are you trying to tell me like Japanese kids are just running around the streets throwing knives as part of competitions? That sounds like some straight up video game shit, man.
It does. That sounds like some Mortal Kombat nonsense. Yeah.
And if that's what they're doing, great. I'm not judging, but it just, to me, it sounds like a white guy. Like, I'll bet that's what they're doing in Japan.
Like, yeah, well, you know, I grew up in the city, so I played stickball and I got into knife fights. You know, it's like,
yeah. When I was growing up reading manga, that's what they did in those. So I'm sure that's just what happens in Japan.
Exactly.
Anyway, there's a lot of conversations about honor and family politics. We do get one scene, the politics side. Yoshida was going to give, instead of giving it to Shinjin, he was going to give it to Mariko.
Mm-hmm.
Put a pin in that. That's, of course, that's the plot. I mean, come on. Yoshida's
Absolutely.
bad guy. We all know it. The one thing that every time I see this movie, it trips me out, is the conversation begins with Wolverine putting 2 chopsticks upright in his rice. She says, no, that's a bad omen. It looks like incense. Takes it out.
Yeah.
They have a whole conversation, and the conversation ends with her pulling the chopsticks out of the rice. I'm like, did Wolverine do it again in the middle of the conversation? Did he?
Nope, that was just a continuity error. They just forgot.
Because every time it happens, I forget that it's in the movie. I watch the movie and it immediately takes me out of the movie. Like, oh, what? When did the chopsticks get back in there?
Yeah, I guess he did it again. Maybe he's like, no,
no, bitch. I put chopsticks upright in my thing.
Right?
Yeah. We get some time and then in Nagasaki, he's chopping wood because he's a big masculine virile guy. Again, James Mangold bringing in that dad energy. Finds, I do kind of like this. He finds where the well he was in used to be. It's sealed up now.
Yeah.
We've been getting flashbacks with him and Yoshida throughout the movie. We get what will be our final flashback where they finally decide that it's time to leave. One important moment that I think is actually really smart on the filmmaker's part, and I think takes steps towards justifying or at least validating the inclusion of Nagasaki in the Nagasaki bomb in this, is when they come out, the camera goes right past Logan and goes to Yoshida's face as he reacts, because that's his fucking home. It doesn't matter what Logan thinks about this. What matters is what Yoshida thinks about it. And again, I don't know that it's a smart maneuver. I don't know. Again, this is a fun superhero blockbuster movie, so you're not going to get to the true horrors of it. But it is, and I've said this before, to me, this is why if you're making Oppenheimer, you don't show the bomb drops and what happened, because there's nothing you can do as a filmmaker to adequately capture what has happened. It is impossible. The horror is too great. And I to me, that applies to the Holocaust as well. As great as Steven Spielberg is, and the amount of effort he put into Schindler's List, there's something inherently reductive about turning that into a narrative. I don't think there's a way around it.
Right. I gotcha.
But within that context, that's smart, because I think a lesser movie and a lesser director than James Mangold would have been focused on Wolverine because he's our lead character. But
exactly,
knowing enough to know, like, no, this isn't his home. His feelings on this do not matter.
Exactly.
It's good. It's a good moment, and it's one of those like, I don't know that like I think James Mangold's like the greatest director ever or anything like that, but he's solid, and this is one of those moments like, yeah, that's a good choice. That's a good solid choice.
Like, that's why we got him.
Yeah,
he knows what to say.
A little bummed we didn't get Aronofsky.
Oh my god, yeah, I know. Well,
we didn't get Aronofsky.
Aronofsky, like, I mean, like, the reality is Aronofsky is like Guillermo del Toro, where it's like, well, maybe he'll do it.
Yes, Aronofsky's attached to this. We'll see. We'll do. Oh my god, put a pin in the Aronofsky del Toro of it all. That'll come back when we do X Factor. Anyway, so and then after this, Logan sleeps with his friend's granddaughter. It's weird. It makes me feel weird. Again,
I don't care for it. I mean, like, they're not really friends. Like, he saved his life. The way Wolverine looks at him, he's like, we're not friends. Like, I
yeah,
saved you one time because, like, I'm not a total piece of shit, contrary to my behavior.
yes.
But that's it. And the guy's like, oh, Logan, old friend, and he's like, no.
It's more the context, and granted, Wolverine's magically old, right? He is older than any actual human being is. But the making it another character's granddaughter really puts the age gap into stark relief.
Yes.
And it's like, you maybe age up the character a little bit so it's his daughter, and it
Yeah.
makes us all feel, because it's not like Hugh Jackman's a beautiful man. It's not like
Right.
even at this point he's a spring chicken. Like he
Oh,
is clearly older than this actress.
yes, by a lot.
Yes. And it's not, again, and I don't want to get like I know some people online were like, Chris Evans married a 26-year-old. What a fucking whatever. It's like, no, she's an adult. And he's it's a significant age gap, but it's not like I don't want to throw other people, but like Dane Cook marrying an 18-year-old or whatever. I can't remember the context of that. But you know what I mean? It is, that's different.
Yeah.
It's just in this context, he's hundreds of years old, making her
Yeah.
like upper 30s, early
At least
40s.
30 something would be
come on.
okay. Yeah. No, I agree.
Throw me a bone here. Anyway,
Yeah.
so or even just say it's his daughter. That whatever, doesn't matter.
No, the whole daughter granddaughter thing, like it's just too messy. There's
It's too messy, and again, it adds another layer to like Yoshida, Shinjin, Mariko. It just if they're siblings, and especially stuff Shinjin does later. If they're siblings,
yeah,
within cinematic language, sibling rivalry, that's something we kind of have a context
we already
for. Like,
yes,
in
shorthand.
He's killing his daughter. Shinjin's dealing with a lot of baggage that we just don't have time to unpack, clearly.
No.
So right after this, Mariko's kidnapped. Logan was able to grab one of the guys. This is a weird scene. It looks like he stabs the dude in the face, and then he's like, "Tell me who you work for." It's like, it looks like you just killed him.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Yukio shows up. There's a phone call later. They explain why she's there. Yukio picks up Logan to take him to Mariko's fiance. Noboru, that's right, there's another fucking guy.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yukio has had a vision of Wolverine's death. He has his heart in his hand.
Yeah.
We've seen Noboru. He's fucking around with one presumes to be prostitutes. Logan shames him for this, even though Mariko literally just slept with him.
I know. Okay.
He gets in there. He's like, "You're engaged. I thought that meant you wouldn't be doing this shit." It's like, Logan.
I mean,
there's a lot of reasons to be mad at this guy. I don't know that is being completely fair. You just slept with his fiance. He's like, "No, but I care about her. These are just prostitutes." I do.
I mean, I hear what you're saying, but geez, dude. Yeah.
And he throws Noboru out a window. It's one of those like, tell me the truth. If I don't like what you say, I'll throw you out that window. He tells him the truth, but he still doesn't like what he says, so he throws him out the window. There's a pool there to explain how he's not dead, but looking at the distance and how shallow the pool is, like, I'm not sure that matters.
No, I think definitely he's like his spine is shattered.
Yeah, he's not. He's not. And also, again, just getting back into this, I'm okay. The canon Wolverine in my head, I'm okay if he does just throw him out the window and he's dead. I'm okay with that.
What are we saving this savagery for?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, and I guess it's just because they're worried that you're not going to like this character.
Well, and they try to have their cake and eat it too, because Yukio's like, "How'd you know the pool was there?" He's like,
"There's a pool there. What?"
Yeah. And it's like, just let him throw him out the window, man. I want Wolverine to just be slightly meaner.
Like the Wolverine who killed government agents who didn't use live rounds in a school.
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
Like, I mean, listen, it was scary and traumatizing that all those people, like, invaded the Xavier Institute, but they were using tranquilizers.
Yes.
Those claws were not tranquilized. Like, when the cleanup crew comes to Westchester to recover those bodies, they're like, hey, where's the team? They're like, oh,
pieces of them over here, pieces of them over there.
Six members of the team were slaughtered by like butcher's knives.
Yes.
What?
Yes. Yeah.
But I threw him in the pool because I'm not a bad guy.
Because I'm not it's like, I don't know, man. So they go back to the house where we go back to the house where Shinjin's threatening to kill his daughter. A bunch of ninjas show up. again, so many layers. Like the ninjas show up to stop Shinshin because the Shinshin's actually not the bad guy. Who could it possibly be? It's too complicated.
Yeah.
Logan and Yukio arrive too late, but there's a taunting note. This becomes confusing later. There's literally a note that says, "I'm here," and then we're going to do a whole bunch of scenes, and then they're like, "But where is he?" And it's like,
Right.
no, there's a note saying
where
she is.
Just go there.
Just go there. It's anyway. Something about this, I guess Logan sees the jars that the little gizmos are in that he saw earlier in the hospital room. This tips him off like, wait a second. Maybe I should finally look into that weird Viper memory I have where she clearly poisoned me.
That was so frustrating that like he doesn't like think about that he chalks up to a dream. Like a woman I've never seen before who is so distinct, I would definitely remember her.
Listen, Wolverine has so many sex dreams about every woman he meets. All right.
That's true. Yeah. And he's like, I love them.
I'm so in love with Viper right now. And this is where we're getting the Yukio's vision of him dying because he sees a little gizmo around his heart. How is that preventing his healing factor? Who cares?
Who cares? That's exactly right. That is totally this movie where they're like, it's around his heart. That means like, how did they crack the secret of his healing factor?
Yeah. Well, and he even says that in the thing, like, we've studied it. You can transport to another person, and which is like, okay, and you just like gloss over it, but you're like, wait, just like a movie ago, we were all like trying to figure out how to get rid of mutancy, and you can transfer mutant abilities to somebody else. That's like huge, man. That's like massive. And again, if we hadn't fucking absolutely thrown X-Men Origins away, you could have connected that to Weapon X.
Yes.
It's a bummer because that was the whole point. That's what they were doing. That's what Deadpool was at the end of that movie.
Exactly.
Dumped a bunch of mutant powers into a person.
Yeah.
Ugh, it's a bummer. It's like somehow this perfectly fine self-contained movie is being dragged down. That's how bad X-Men Origins is. The force of gravity is pulling in the Wolverine with it.
That's right.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Anyway. This is making me. I want to go back and read some of those classic Claremont comics because I feel like, or even that's not even who wrote Weapon X.
No, that was Barry Windsor Smith.
Yeah, and I read. Did I read all of it or most of it? I remember being very good. Anyway,
it is very good.
Very good. So while Wolverine's doing self-surgery, again, that's another dad movie thing. They love the self-surgery. Anyway,
they love that. Yeah.
He's yanking out the little gizmo in his heart. Meanwhile, Shinshin shows up to fight Yukio. This fight, at least in the extended edition, is actually pretty fucking cool. It's a pretty fucking cool fight.
Yeah, it is cool.
They're fighting around Wolverine doing the surgery. Wolverine's dying. He dies. And he does. And it's actually really, I can't tell whether this is hacky or it's actually effective. But like, of course, Wolverine's not worried about dying doing the self-surgery because he'll heal. He's got if he can get rid of this gizmo, he'll heal.
Yeah, exactly. Like all I need to do is just make it long enough to get this thing off of me, and I'll be fine.
Yeah, which is what happens. And then he gets into a fight with Shinshin, who, by the way, is wearing samurai armor in this.
You're like, oh, that would be really cool if it was silver samurai armor, or if he was the main bad guy. But whatever.
Because this fight is actually pretty cool.
Yeah,
I do think they like what's the word I'm looking for? They like hedge it a little bit because it's like Wolverine has unbreakable claws. I feel like
it's not fair. Like he's
quicker.
Yeah, he should have fought him either before he was, or they should have said like it'll take like an hour before your healing factor will get back into. So he has to beat him with the handicap so that like there's any tension in the scene. But he's like, but he cheats. He's like, stab me. Like he gets stabbed and then he's like, this doesn't affect me.
Yeah, and
I'm a Terminator.
The other way to do this is if you kind of like retool the script, and the armor's made out of what makes the Silver Samurai armor's adamantium.
Yes,
and that levels it up a little bit more because what makes this fight so much cooler, other than the Hiroyuki.
Her fight, yes.
the actor being involved. Hiroyuki Sanada playing him, but also it's a person on person. It's not like a guy versus a giant CG robot. Like
that's true.
Dudes fighting in a cool location.
You know what
Like,
that says to me? That says that's a compromise where they were like, it'd be really cool if it ended with like a duel, like in the comic book.
yeah.
And they were like, yeah, but where's all the money gonna go?
Exactly. Where are we going to spend all that money? Yeah, it's a oh man, it would have been and it is one of those like this is a perfect opportunity
Mm-hmm.
to steal from a movie like Kill Bill that also stole from every samurai movie ever made.
Run naturally.
So by
Yeah.
like stealing from Kill Bill, you're basically shotgunning.
All
You
of them.
streamlined every samurai movie.
Yeah.
Steal that.
Yeah.
I wish this movie, and I think it stands out to me more with the Wolverine movies because the Wolverine comics we're pulling from are from more iconic, more stylized creators, and so I wish these movies were a bit more stylized
Yeah, me too.
than as opposed to like your standard issue solid superhero movie. You
Yeah,
know?
we dance on the precipice of stylization, but unfortunately, because the rest of the movie is like a standard looking movie,
Yeah.
it just looks it ends up like losing the message and being kind of goofy. Like, can
Yeah.
you imagine like Sin City, Frank
Mhm.
Miller, like the
Yeah.
Sin City movie, but it's the Wolverine movie,
Yeah.
where it's like almost all black and white, splashes of color, or just color,
Yeah.
but with that kind of high contrast.
Yeah.
And then those isolated elements of like a silhouetted panel,
Yeah. Mhm.
like 300 or something. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd hate to say that Zack Snyder's Wolverine movie would be baller,
Well, I was going to say
but it
this.
would be.
Yeah, I was gonna save this for X Factor, but when we talked about X Men Origins Wolverine, one of
Yeah.
the directors in contention to do that was Zack Snyder. And as much as I don't like, and I had to think about this watching this because again, I said that when we were talking about X Men Origins, and I felt that here. It's like Zack Snyder's Wolverine trilogy
Yeah.
could potentially be one of my all-time favorite superhero trilogies.
Yeah,
And I was
definitely.
like, why? And so I had to articulate in my brain, why that, but not Justice League? And I had to think back to the fact that Zack Snyder is like the Frank Miller of filmmakers. So if I think of like a Frank Miller thing, so Zack Snyder's Wolverine, dope.
Yeah.
Zack Snyder's Daredevil, dope. Zack Snyder's Batman Year One, maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe,
on the
maybe,
precipice, but like
maybe.
Zack Snyder's Spider-Man, Zack Snyder's Superman?
Well,
No.
yeah, Zack Snyder's super because then you think about the other way. Frank Miller's Justice League. I'm not picking up that comic.
I don't want to read that.
Yeah, I'm not picking up that comic.
Yeah.
You know, Frank Miller's Watchmen. It's like that's wrong. That's it. That's the wrong answer to that.
Baffling.
Those two things don't go together.
No, I agree. Yeah.
Frank Miller, in some ways, is like the anti-Alan Moore. I know, like we like to pit Alan Moore,
And they're contemporaries.
Exactly. Yeah. I like that we pit Alan Moore against Grant Morrison because one's optimistic and one's pessimistic. But I also think 100%. They're both chaos magicians, so like they're more in line with each other than they're not. Like Frank Miller is the anti-Alan Moore. Mm-hmm. Not in that one's good, one's bad. It's just their paradigms are the opposite of each other.
Exactly. They have very different interpretations of like what to give you as far as a superhero book is concerned.
So there's a reality where instead of ruining Watchmen and Superman, Zack Snyder was making the best Wolverine movies ever. And it's like, where is that multiverse? Like,
I would like to, yeah. I don't even want like to travel through multiverses. I just want to grab Blu-rays.
Yeah, just give me, because yes, please and thank you. And all the crazy and truthfully, I have mixed feelings on the Rebel Moon thing, but like Frank Miller's Heavy Metal,
yeah,
which is what Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon is like. Yeah, that makes sense. That works.
Absolutely, 100%.
But it's like, but it's all the crazy bullshit, even like the semi-fascist stuff that like Zack Snyder's movies. I'm not saying Zack Snyder's this way. I'm saying his movies dabble in it a lot.
They do. Yeah.
Would work here, and it would work. It would.
Yeah,
it'd be less,
especially because of like because of Fox's like weird obsession with Wolverine, where they're like he's the hero of the X-Men franchise, but also like he can't be the Superman of your franchise. Like it's Sony considers Spider-Man to be the Superman of their franchise, and it's like he isn't, and it's why it doesn't work. But like they've managed to redefine that character.
Yeah.
Wolverine was the Superman of the X-Men franchise, and it's like, he just has butcher's knives that come out of his hands. Like that's not heroic.
Yeah, and you know who would have understood that? Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
When Zack Snyder says like, I'm making this character edgy and gritty, Wolverine, go to town, my guy.
Absolutely,
town.
Go for it. Make him a sympathetic monster.
The only downside of this, when you're saying like, okay, So Zack Snyder's adapting Weapon X. Zack Snyder's adapting the Japanese arc.
Totally.
Wolverine.
Yeah.
Great. Zack Snyder's adapting Old Man Logan. Ooh, uh-oh. Ooh, uh-oh. Uh-oh, maybe. Ooh, maybe don't do that.
I think Zack Snyder and Mark Miller team up very well.
I think that's my argument. They team up too well. There's nothing. They
might get too many good ideas. They might like really factor into the wrong.
No, but it's one of the. I think they might feed into each other's worst impulses.
Yes.
And it's like yeah, we're definitely getting, instead of because we don't have access to the Hulk. The Blob has a rape family, and it's like I don't. That's the thing. I don't want the rape family.
No,
I don't want that.
We didn't need that at all.
Yeah,
So
James Mangold getting rid of that for Logan, it's like good decision.
That's true.
What was it like? There's something like there's like a Spider Woman that's like sexy, but even
Spider Bitch.
Like, I don't need that, man.
We don't need Spider Bitch. Yeah, and Marvel is like, I would thank you not to refer to her.
Yes. Yes. Oh,
just because that's her name. Like that's what she calls herself, and they're like, we're never gonna do that.
Yeah, she'll be in Spider-Verse, but you will not mention her name.
Yeah,
Cornet Chris says, "Side thought: Zack Snyder's Judge Dredd." And yes, but also we have Dredd. Dredd is perfect. So
Dredd is perfect. I just want more Dredd.
Yes.
But I would rather have Paul Verhoeven's Judge Dredd, because Dredd is a joke. Like Zack Snyder's Dredd is, that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
As opposed to like, no, it's a terrible idea, but here it is to its like most absurd degree.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I no.
Yeah.
I'm worried about people like that, like being like, yeah, I love that character. And I'm like, why?
Yeah, exactly. Explain to me why. But like, but I exist in a universe with a Dredd movie that I love and I watch semi-regularly. So I'm okay. I'm okay. I don't need.
I was watching it the other day.
It's perfect. It's so cool.
I just want squibs. That's all I wanted, was just more
squibs. Yeah. And when it doesn't have, it's not that it's not present.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have the same level of, it's not, when you're saying Paul Verhoeven's Dredd, that's a perfect, but it doesn't have that level of satire, but it does it does poke holes in the especially when you get into evil judges or whatever.
Yes.
But also, it's just so fucking cool. It's just such a good, it's so good. It might be my favorite. Why I just blanked. It's the same guy that did Ex Machina. He wrote Dredd, but everybody kind of believes that he kind of stepped in and actually directed it.
Was it
Alex
Garland? Alex Garland. Yes.
And if that's the case, it is easily my favorite Alex Garland movie, because I like Alex Garland movies usually until the end. He's like, what about this deep philosophical sci-fi premise, and then I just throw it out for kind of like a hack and slash thing at the end of the movie, and it's like, or maybe see it through. I mean, maybe see the conceptual stuff. Anyway, whatever. This is
but I want that. I do love the ending of Dredd. Where he's just like,
that's what I'm saying. Dredd
push.
Great. Dredd is perfect. It's more like Ex Machina. Like, what is the nature of humanity? Could this robot really feel? Forget all that. Now it's murdering everybody, and it's like, time out. That's not the movie you were making
right
just a second ago. Same with fucking Annihilation. I think it's great, but I think the ending kind of ends on a thud.
Agreed. Yes.
And again, he made Devs, the show Devs, which is a great show until the end. Like, I don't like the end for some reason. Like, for me, Alex Garland just can't quite stick the landing, except in Dredd.
Right.
Because Dredd's not dealing with deep philosophical stuff.
That's right. That's right.
Dredd shooting fools in the face. Please and thank you. It's great.
That's right.
Anyway, where were we? Shinjin. Wolverine kills Shinjin, and this is the last great action scene we'll get in this movie, but it is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Before they leave, Yukio sees the schematics for the Silver Samurai as kind of like, sorry, everybody, this is where we're going. Just so you know, be ready for this bullshit. When they arrive at Yoshida's village, where he has like a super future tower, they get a little bit of a Once Upon a Time in the West thing, they sneak in a little bit of that score.
Yeah.
And it's my favorite, possibly my favorite Western, and it's a great score, and it's pretty cool. If you haven't seen Once Upon a Time in the West, check that shit out. It's pretty great. And this is Logan gets a big ninja fight.
Yep.
and it's
Pretty
cool. Yukio gets in a snowplow and plows ninjas. And especially watching the unrated version where like there's blood and shit. It's cool.
Yeah.
But it is one of those, just to kind of cap off our previous conversation, like fucking Zack Snyder would have fucking
I know.
destroyed this
Well, because
shit.
like that scene of like all the arrows with the ropes attached to them in his back.
Yeah.
Like all I can think of is like Robert Rodriguez and Frank Miller, like is a silhouetted like white against black,
Yes.
snow covered like backdrop like image.
Yep.
And instead he just looks ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like because I remember that image and I remember it being awesome, and it's because it's a pure comic book image. But seeing it against this, like, why is he still doing this? Are the arrows in his arms? I don't remember. I think they're not.
No, I think they're not.
But like it's also it really plays into the fairy tale element. There's a princess at the top of a tower.
Yeah.
Her hard on his luck hero is on his way. He fights insurmountable odds to get there and then falls before he gets there. Like this is all juicy, cinematic, pure fairy tale comic book junk. And I'm so here for it. And it's like and with a little bit more stylization, it would push it over the line, maybe into schlock. But at the same time, like he literally flies at one point, like he's on the bullet train. He's like, I got to get over there really fast. Yeah. Like Superman.
Yeah.
So maybe do that.
And the other thing, I don't know that you need this. I'm not a big believer. Like people could be like, well, it has to match the other X-Men movies. Does it?
Nope.
Like,
nope.
Because like comics don't. Like comics have their own artistic, there is your standard house style.
Right.
Then you get books that are technically in continuity, but are outside of that, because one of the great things about comics is you have literal artists working on them.
Yeah.
And they have cool perspectives and shit.
100%.
I don't know that I need this relatively standalone movie to feel like every other X-Men movie. But
if that's
the argument, you could, that fairy tale aspect of it, you could ramp it up as the movie goes on to where by the time you get here, it is you're almost working on fable like energy. Like that's the vibe you're going for. Because you're right, that's kind of what it needs to work.
Yeah.
I think, because it's not that it's not a cool image. It just could be cooler.
It'd be cooler. And like you're already, you would accept a lot more from it if you did that. Like if you would accept him banging this girl that's like 120 years younger than he is, if it was romantic. And as opposed to just like, as opposed to it being part of the trope of this is the part in the movie where the hero bangs the girl. Because if he doesn't and he dies, then he won't have already had sex with her.
Yeah, something more sweeping, something more epic, something a little bit more fantastic, like that leans into the fantastic more. I totally agree with you. So just to kind of like get us to the finish line, basically they get to the tower. Yoshida, the guy that wanted Wolverine's immortality and healing factor is the bad guy. Shocker, he's not dead. He's piloting this old octogenarian is piloting a giant mech suit made of adamantium. And I guess he specifically needs the DNA from within Wolverine's. Oh, he needs the bone marrow. That's what it is.
Oh,
he needs the bone marrow. The only part of Wolverine's bones that stick out are the claws. So he cuts off, and that is the one cool part about this fight scene, because I remember watching it in theaters. It was the first time in the movie where like the stakes felt raised. Like, oh, you just cut off Wolverine's claws. That's his main thing.
Yeah, that's the only thing that makes him Wolverine. What the hell?
Claws.
Yeah.
And then he has this goofy little gadget that he like drills in there to get the marrow to make him young. While this is happening, Viper's there. She gets in a fight.
Girl fight.
Yeah, like this ninja guy kind of takes her out, and then she sheds her skin, and then Yukio fights her. And then
her head pops off in an elevator shaft.
Yeah, she gets killed multiple times, and we're led to believe that she's super dead by the end, because she gets hit by like the dumbwaiter. That's not a dumbwaiter. The opposing weight in the elevator shaft, whatever.
Right. Oof.
Ninja guy eats it. Everybody's dead basically except Mariko, Yukio, and Wolverine.
Yep.
Wolverine's getting the youth sucked out of him. Mariko, because of the knife thing that we established earlier. Throws Wolverine's claws. They're not even weighted. They're just bones that were chopped off. But she's able to throw them like throwing knives into fucking Yoshida's head.
Yeah,
he dies. Yeah. He dies. Wolverine grows his bone claws out from the shell of the adamantium claws.
All right.
And he hucks Yoshida over the edge. Bad guy
Yep.
defeated. Day saved.
Yay.
Mariko is gonna leave the company, so she stays behind. But Yukio is gonna travel with Logan on one presumes mini adventures that we unfortunately never
That
get
we
to
never
see,
see. Yeah.
which is a fucking bummer.
I assume she's murdered by Sentinels.
Yeah, what a waste. Because you see the end of that movie, it's like I would watch every movie with these two going on
Yeah.
adventures with each other. I would watch all of them.
100%. I'm so on board. Yeah. No, it's true.
And
Yeah.
then it's worth mentioning, and you can even see it. So there's a shot where Logan is talking to Mariko. They're getting ready to leave. Yukio is handed a giant ass case that then vanishes from the rest of the finale.
From the theatrical cut of the movie, yes.
Yeah, because in the deleted scene, she hands Logan the case. What's in the case? It's the costume. And I feel like
Yep.
you can make the argument that, like, well, why promise it if you're not going to see it?
Yeah.
And I'm like, give me something.
Right,
Give
please.
me something. Come on.
Yeah.
Like, I think they should have kept it in the movie. How do you think, Sal?
100%. Yeah, it definitely put it in the movie, especially because of how many X-Men first class Apocalypse Phoenixes we have where they wear some terrible version of a comic book accurate costume and then we just throw it the hell away in the next one.
And
might as well just
by the
put
way,
this in there.
It looks really cool.
It looks really cool.
It looks really cool. And also, you had the perfect opportunity to introduce this because, again, his healing factor. But I'm sorry, I put up this image just because obviously he doesn't wear the costume, so I don't have an image of that.
Right? No.
So I just put up. I need to point out how fucking shredded.
Oh my god,
Hugh Jackman is in this.
He is yoked. Movie. It is sick. He looks ill.
It's one of those when you look at this image that I have up right now, and you hear Hugh Jackman's like, "Yeah, I think I'm done being Wolverine because I don't want to get in that shape." It's like I don't fucking blame you, man. God,
yeah, he is like,
damn it,
less than 0% body fat. Like he's
-% body fat.
His like muscles are blasting out of his skin. Like his skin isn't thick enough to contain his muscles.
Oh my god. Anyway, whatever. His healing factor is not working in this movie. Give him armor.
Yeah.
Give him the armor.
Give him the suit. The funny thing is we've seen the awesome costume in Deadpool 3.
Yeah.
We still haven't seen the mask. And we do see it in this, and it looks pretty baller. I hope it's good.
And that's the thing I want, I want the mask.
Yeah.
The mask is cooler than his stupid hair. I'm sorry, everybody.
Easily. No, we all agree. Yeah.
Here's just that way, so when the mask is off, it's like, oh, it's that guy.
Well, that's Wolverine. Yeah. It'd be like if Batman's hair when he's Bruce Wayne went up.
You should do that. That'd be so fucking funny.
Yeah.
He just wears the mask.
I have cowl hair.
Yeah, he walks into a boardroom and like, wait, is Bruce Wayne Batman?
What?
What? I do like, though, for a good chunk of it, he's wearing the suit he wears at the funeral. Which is cool. Guys fighting, doing action scenes in suits. John Wick is a whole franchise based on what if guys in cool suits got in fist fights? Yes.
John Wick is such a movie that is made by a stuntman. Like
yes.
It is where it's like, wouldn't it be cool if it's just the parts that you give a shit about?
Mm-hmm.
Like John Wick is made by a guy who thought that Equilibrium was a dope movie.
Yeah. It's funny though. There's Night Comes for Us was stars a few guys from the Raid, and
nice.
The hero in the Raid plays the villain and he has to fight in a suit at the end. And it was one of those, like, I was listening to, I was, because I saw it at Fantastic Fest. There was a Q&A after, and the director was like, yeah, he hated it because it's so fucking hard to fight in suit. It's not. Yeah. It's actually really not great. Iko Uwais is the actor. He's so fucking good. Anyway, but I like it. So he doesn't. Point is, he doesn't have his powers. That's a perfect excuse to bust out.
Yeah.
Why do they have it? Who gives a shit?
Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
Hell.
Yeah.
It's in there. Yoshida says, "I have a gift for you," and that gift is, "I will take your immortality away." Don't do that. Here's a gift for you. Here's this outfit I made for you. By the way, are you tired of living?
Right.
Anyway,
yeah.
So that's the end of the movie. They fly off. The actual end of the movie is, and it's weird. It plays like there's a beat missing. They're like, "Where are you gonna go? Who knows?" And they just kind of sit there.
It actually really sucks. Where he's like, "Let's try with up," and I'm like, "Well, they need clearance. You can't just stay up. You have to go someplace.
You have to go someplace. These things eat up so much jet fuel. You gotta
exactly. You can't just say we're going up."
We do get a mid-credit scene because this is like a year after Avengers. Like we're like this we do now.
This is what we do.
Yeah.
We set up the next thing.
Yeah.
These movies are commercials for the next movie.
Yeah, exactly. The post-credit scenes are so big that like A24 movies are doing it at this point. Like, you know,
oh no, really?
They're great. I just rewatched The Green Knight with my wife, and it has a post-credit scene, and it's great. It actually means, yeah, it does.
Oh shit! I turned it off.
No, but it kind of adds to the ambiguity. You've seen The Green Knight,
yeah?
I don't want to spoil it. Everybody watch The Green Knight. I'll tell Saul off the air what the post
all right
is because I don't want to spoil a whole different genre of movie.
Yeah.
The Green Knight's so fucking good.
Yeah,
please watch that shit. Anyway, the mid-credit scene of this movie is Wolverine's in an airport. He wants the pat down instead of the metal detector. Haha. And then everything starts shaking. Magneto's there. Wait, but didn't he lose his powers in Last Stand? Who else is there? Everybody freezes. It's Professor X, but he super died in that movie.
He exploded into a billion pieces, and now they all came back together because it's his body.
Because there's a commercial for Trask Industries, and you'll be like, "Wait, DJ, I've seen Days of Future Past. Don't they make the Sentinels in like the 70s?" Yeah, faithful listener, I too have that question, and I will have it going into Days of Future Past.
Yeah, don't worry about that. They didn't know what they were doing. They didn't have a movie yet. It was just this.
Yeah. Oh my god. So that is the post-credit scene of this movie. That's the end of the Wolverine. We'll save our overall thoughts for when we rank it. How about that? Let's scoot on over real quick. We're running long as we do.
As it happens.
As we do. We're running long. We're going into X Factor. This is where we talk about some of the behind the scenes stuff, like the fact that Darren Aronofsky from Pi and Requiem for a Dream and The Wrestler and Black Swan and a bunch of other DJ's favorite movies.
He's
originally slated to direct this movie. Even shit like Noah. Yeah, that's right. I fucking like Noah. I like Darren Aron. I like Mother. I am a Darren Aronofsky fan, is what we're getting.
Yeah.
I
you like The Fountain as well?
You know what? That's the one I haven't seen. I think
the
only Aronofsky movie I've not seen is The Fountain.
The Fountain it's got Hugh Jackman in it.
Yeah, I know. And so it's pertinent to this movie, and it's the one I haven't seen. But like,
yeah, it's real sad.
The Wrestler and Black Swan,
they're great.
For Dream is not one that I bust out very often. Shocker.
Of course not.
It's great, but it is bleak.
it is. Yeah, if you're like, I'm ready to feel like the world has betrayed everything, watch Requiem for a Dream.
I want to feel the worst I've ever felt. Let's watch Requiem for a Dream. But anyway,
bleak. Yeah.
Darren Aronofsky was originally slated to direct, and then Darren Aronofsky found out that he was going to have to spend almost a year in Japan away from his family. This is what he says. To me, this makes sense though. Like of all the like creative differences, saying that like, yeah, I'd have to spend a year away from my family in Japan. It's like, yeah, I mean, maybe you wouldn't want to do that. That tracks for me.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
Yeah. And so he bowed out. Christopher McQuarrie, tracking this down was a little bit difficult because Christopher McQuarrie wrote the original draft. He is not credited at all. And one of the writers, I can't remember which one, I don't know where they entered in. One of them was hired to rewrite it. And then there's another writer who there's no track record. I don't know why McQuarrie doesn't even get like story credit or anything.
Weird.
But there is a reality, and we know Christopher McQuarrie is like making like the best Mission Impossible movies.
Yes.
But before that, he wrote Usual Suspects and stuff like that. So there is somewhere in the multiverse, theoretically, where Darren Aronofsky directed a Wolverine movie written by Christopher McQuarrie.
Seriously.
I give that. I like this movie.
Yeah.
Give me that movie.
I would rather see that movie too. Yeah, I hear you.
Jessica Biel was originally in talks to play Viper.
Yeah, that tracks.
Yeah.
Good for her for not doing it.
Yeah. Hugh Jackman contacted Dwayne Johnson, aka The Rock, for some tips on bulking up in the film.
Okay.
And the suggestion was to gain a pound a week, eat 6,000 calories a day for 6 months, which consisted of, quote, an awful lot of chicken, steak, and brown rice.
Yeah, that sounds right.
When you say like chicken and steak and brown rice, you're like, oh, those are all things I like. No, but I don't think two things there that I don't think the general audience member might understand there. The amount of it, as somebody that's been hitting the gym, I'll say casually. I do it 4 days a week every week, so that
Nice. That's pretty good.
I know, but it's more
It's only
casual than what Hugh Jackman's doing here.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
It's more casual than this.
Yes.
Like what I'm doing is like amateur hour.
Right, compared to this. He's a
Compared to
professional. He's
this.
professionally getting yoked.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the amount of it, the amount of protein you're having to ingest,
Yes.
and then the amount of working out to make that not become fat.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like,
right.
This is a surreal amount of work.
Yes. Yes. It's yeah. I've never imagined that I would ever know anything about that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm kind of at the point where I've done as much as I'm probably going to do gym wise, and without like, I need to start looking at my diet. Like, not that I eat, like, I don't eat great, but I don't eat as bad as I used to. But it's like, I'm going to have to start counting my protein and calories and shit if I really want to like take things to the next level. And it's been a challenge to mentally get my head around it. In August 2012, Guillermo del Toro revealed he had been interested in directing the film.
Oh my God.
Is this the Japanese arc? Listen, the Japanese arc, everybody's like, the Japanese arc's my favorite Wolverine story.
Yeah, of course.
And he met with Hugh Jackman and another guy who I guess is a producer. I don't know him.
Wow.
And he ended up passing because he didn't want to spend 2 to 3 years of life working
in
on
Japan.
this.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, also he's Guillermo del Toro, so like, you know, he makes every 5th movie.
Yeah. He's like attached to 20 and he'll make 2 of them.
Exactly. Yeah.
The other day I spent some time looking up like what happened to Guillermo. There was a brief moment where Guillermo del Toro was going to make a Hulk show. What happened to that? And it just went away. I
think Universal happened to that. I think Universal was like, no,
thank you. Yeah, so those are some of the behind the scenes stuff. I want to talk about the fact again, the fantasy Zack Snyder one. We talked about that.
Yep.
So let's get into New Mutants, which is where we kind of talk about, do we think any of these stories or characters or stuff will be reutilized in the MCU?
You could do this again. I mean, like it is very similar to the Claremont Miller book, but it's so different that you could still do it. And you know, you could make Silver Samurai is a threat that could last into the Marvel universe and make it a little bigger, or smaller. You know, just being like, oh, that's an interesting thing. But overall, I don't see them doing it. But I don't know. Like, Marvel Studios is in such a weird place where, like, I would expect that things they're going to avoid from the X-Men right now, right? Yeah. Phoenix, Japanese Wolverine, Apocalypse. Yeah. You know, things that like you would have seen already because they're like, well, we got to give you something we haven't seen. Spider-Man, right? Like looking at like with Spider-Man, they're like, well, we never saw the story where he went to Europe for a while because there aren't any. Mm-hmm. And you know, we didn't see the one where he's you know, whatever. They did things you haven't seen.
Let's not do anything that they've done before, including the things people want.
Yes, let's avoid the things that people desperately want us to do.
Yeah,
but do enough of what we think they want so that people don't just riot.
Yeah.
And so that's what you have to expect from their X-Men approach, right? And so if that's the case, you know, you'll see shades of this. You know, like I could see at the end of the Wolverine movie, or at the end of the Wolverine comic book, he doesn't leave.
Yeah.
Like a pimp. Mm-hmm. Like every stupid superhero movie ends, where they're all sexless eunuchs that like go, the girl's like, please be with me. And he's like, no. And then walks off like just a miserable masturbatory lunatic.
Yeah.
But no, Wolverine, the end of the Wolverine book is the X-Men get an invitation to the wedding.
Yeah.
And it's
I remember that
which is how this movie should have ended. That would have ended in Westchester.
You mentioned like wanting to talk about the ending of the comic. Was this the part? That
this is it. This is it. Like they should have ended the movie in Westchester. Professor X is like going through his mail, and he opens up one and like a couple of characters that you're going to use in the future, like Kitty. They could have brought Kitty in,
dude. And with as little as this movie ended up mattering continuity wise,
exactly,
you could have. And then by the time Dave Future passed, like I don't know, Sentinels, and then by the time
Sentinels came and killed my wife, and now I joined up with Chuck. Like whatever.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
Yeah, like Sentinels came, they killed Yukio, they killed my wife, they killed like the entire Harada family.
Yeah,
I'm here now, you know, and I'm Wolverine again. the whole movie you'll never see. But
Yeah.
but it could have ended with that, where it's like they open up the wedding invitation and like there's a picture of Wolverine with Mariko.
Yeah,
Like
like
that
that
would be
classic.
really
It's like an iconic cover.
yeah, of him
It's like
wearing
that.
his wearing the Japanese clothes, and I'm like,
Yeah.
that would have been really, really, really cool.
Oh man, I wish they'd gone for that. I'll say this. So I feel like, well, again, it's actually, even though technically the Netflix shows aren't in the same boat as X-Men, they
Right.
kind of are. They
Yeah.
kind of are. And so I could see them going like, no, the hand,
Yes,
none the hand, which I think is the wrong
I
takeaway.
agree.
It's like, yes, the hand, just not bad. Just
Yeah,
not,
just not
just
stupid. Yeah,
not stupid.
it'd be okay to be the hand. We all still like ninjas, and they are cool in those shows.
And so, even though it's like, I don't think they do this because I think Wolverine has proven that he's a bankable movie IP.
100%.
But like a Netflix show where like you could do the whole Japanese arc in a Netflix show and then do an episode with like Daredevil and Elektra, like
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
dude. I mean, a Wolverine show that's just Quantum Leap, where it's like Wolverine and
He
Captain
draws
America,
shit.
Wolverine and
Well,
Daredevil.
I want that. Like I don't think you're gonna get Chris Evans back
No,
other than for Secret Wars.
for
Right?
Secret Wars, big
Yeah.
movie. Yeah,
But Sebastian Stan seems to be down, and I would love to see like if you're doing a Wolverine movie now, like opening scene, he's in a bomber about ready to parachute down, and Bucky's there, and
Yeah.
maybe America's ass walks by.
yeah,
We don't see Chris Evans' face, and it's like,
Yep.
yeah, Wolverine, because that's the beauty of Wolverine. He was there. All this stuff that we've been doing, Wolverine, World War, and that's the other thing. Captain America's out there, fighting Nazis and stuff.
Yeah.
Eric Wenchers is in one of those camps, like
Right.
Wolverine's, like whatever, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
lay those seeds, but I think that'd be great. Like, it'd be way more fucking money than I think Marvel would put down for this, because at that point you're talking about like House of the Dragon type money, I think.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, one episode Wolverine in World War II, one
Right.
episode, and then you seed in. Let's say it's like a 6-episode run.
Mhm.
I feel like I'm the only person that loved She-Hulk as much as I do, but I thought She-Hulk did the perfect amount of integration
Yes.
of other, like Wong and Abomination and
Yeah, I agree.
Daredevil. Like, it's not too much. It's all
Mhm.
directly connected to her story and what she's going through. If you
Agreed.
can pull that off with Wolverine, where it's like he's fighting a hand, here's Daredevil.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Throw in a Punisher.
Yes.
Especially if you want to try and incorporate some of Punisher. Punisher's very connected to that hand now. You want to do
Yeah.
some of that shit? Go to fucking
Yeah.
town.
Absolutely. But
Yeah.
I think like if we're to expect like an MCU Wolverine, like they might be like, yeah, Wolverine's already married to Mariko.
Yeah.
Like which I don't want to see, but
Yeah.
you know.
I also think this is a good opportunity. I think that, I think a conversation, you're recasting Wolverine. I think because two people groups, Wolverine's a white Canadian dude, but he's
Yep.
very associated with the indigenous people of Canada
Right.
and Japanese culture. Maybe consider an actor of Japanese descent or an actor of indigenous descent.
Mhm.
So maybe it's a little less colonizing, like a little
Yeah.
less, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Uh-huh.
there's a lot of actors that I think could do a really good job with that. So
Totally.
fuck, man, this the Wolverine show version of this in the
Yeah.
MCU, I'm very sold on it now, even though we're very much not. Oh, in one episode where Wolverine fights the Hulk, that's the one thing I need.
That's
need
like
Wolverine.
that's all I
Fight-
need.
in fact, make that like
That's the movie.
an episode Wolverine fights the Hulk, like the classic comic, and
Yeah.
give me my patch and Joe Fix It. Give me
Yes.
that shit.
Dude,
That's Joe Fix It. Ooh,
Oh
please.
yeah. No, treating the Wolverine show like how I would treat a Predator show
Yeah,
is like exactly what you want to do. Where each episode is a bottle episode that's like part of a larger narrative.
Yeah.
Maybe there's like Mr. Sinister or something like some overarching problem, but the reality is each episode, the reason to tune in is to see Wolverine as a different, because Wolverine, Patch, Canuck,
Yeah.
superhero, like spy, murderer, assassin, like those are 6 episodes, 6 versions of Wolverine. Oh, it's like, and Berserker.
Yeah.
Every episode you see a different version of Wolverine. So it's like, and each episode you're like, that's a totally different fucking version of Wolverine.
God, dude, this is so in the video game community. There's the idea of a killer app, and that being like Halo. The reason you buy Xbox is because of Halo. If you buy PlayStation, something like God of War. And I'm surprised we haven't used that terminology more with streamers, because they need, Netflix has Stranger Things. You know what I mean? Like they have those killer apps. a Wolverine show like this, I feel like, dude, that's what gets you people on fucking Disney Plus, man.
100%.
Like fucking, oh my
Well,
god.
like, Mandalorian was that. Mandalorian was the Disney Plus like killer app.
But I think, and would they make the same? I think when Mandalorian was, I never really liked
Season
it.
1, like when it,
But like
because it was like episodic.
Yeah, that. Oh man, because then you could do stuff like, why is this episode starting with these scientists? Who are these scientist people? And it's basically like Alien. It's Weapon X, but it's from the point of view of the scientist that Wolverine is murdering as he's escaping.
Yes.
It's a one.
Well, then you could also
be movie, but that could be an episode of the show.
That's 45 minutes, and it's like, and you could get like they got Robert Rodriguez to direct a freaking episode of the freaking of Mandalorian, and then like made the Boba Fett show, which sucks, but like whatever. But like each, we could get Darren Aronofsky to do an episode of the Wolverine show.
Yeah,
we could get like James Mangold to come in and do like a Western episode of like the Wolverine show. Like we could get like these different guest directors to bomb in and do like, and just blow the doors off. Where they're like,
you talk about a Western episode. I'm thinking about, I specifically think about that Jason Aaron arc with him and Mystique.
Yeah.
Like, yes. All those things. And then you get to kind of like retroactively kind of rewrite elements of MCU history. Like, here's what I need them to do. If we're doing this Wolverine show, I need an episode. You said spy Wolverine. Great. I need an episode where we find out like, oh yeah, the Nick Fury is like, oh no, you thought the cat scratching me gave me my eye patch? No, that's stupid. That's fucking dumb,
dude.
I'm my eye out.
Exactly. Seriously, since we saw him, since Nick Fury was introduced, I'm like, there's 3.
Yep.
They've just been waiting.
Yep. And then they did that cat thing, and I think there's enough wiggle room where we see the cat scratch him, cut to him getting, like, I think it's a post-credits scene, getting glass eye. Obviously, the implication is it's a cat scratch, but that's fucking dumb.
It's terrible, and no one loves it.
MCU.
Yeah,
rewrite that shit.
That is a Mandarin level mistake, and they fixed the Mandarin.
We fixed the Mandarin mostly. We fixed them mostly. We kind of wasted in Shang-Chi. But we decided to do big dragons instead. I don't know why. Anyway, MCU gods, give us the show, please, for the love of God. Please.
We can fix so much, and it'll and only deliver. People will be very happy. Trust me.
Anyway. All right. Last thing we do. This is where we get in our general thoughts, or not general thought, but basically, having rewatched the Wolverine, Sal, we're going to rank it. But before we rank it, what are your feelings on the Wolverine?
I loved it when it came out. Like, I remember this was highly needed after Last Stand and the Wolverine 1. I was like, this is a breath of fresh air. It has any roots to the comics. There's some grit. It treats itself kind of maturely. All the goofy nonsense is very minimal and is forgivable. Rewatching it still holds up, but I do feel like the problem is now it is a little too clunky. Like, it's just it's too loose, and it doesn't need to be. And I appreciated it back then because I was just like, everything that was additional to this movie, because the movie could have been 80 minutes long. You don't really need it to be however long it is, but like, but everything you do have only adds to the characters in the world. But who gives a crap? Like, if I don't care, or if it detracts, or if I start looking at my phone, you've lost me. You've hurt the movie. So this movie could benefit from a tighter edit, but moreover, it's the bloat. The movie doesn't need as much bloat, and it's like from Mariko, like the Silver Samurai should have been Mariko's father. End of story. No need for the brother. The reason why it's a father is because it's unbelievable to imagine her father survived from World War II to now and had a child young enough for it to be a sex appeal character for Wolverine. But that sucks. So you set the movie in the past. You know what I mean? You set it in like in the 80s, for the love of God. Like, I don't know what you do, but like, you need to fix it where the father is the hero, is the villain, not the grandfather. Because like then you have because then the father character is just like, he's stuck, right? Because you got like the boyfriend and you got the grandfather, and then there's the dad, and he's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing here. I'm so mad. And I'm like, I hear you, brother. There's a reason for that. It's because you're marginalized.
Exactly. You kind of don't belong. I totally agree with that. And I think, again, because when it came out, breath of fresh air, especially since we're post Avengers.
Right.
So we're right in the middle of all that super connected stuff. So this idea of a more standalone thing, but I think almost in some ways that almost works against it, in that I almost wish it was more. It's not standalone in content, but standalone in style. Like, do more. Like, go.
I agree.
The instinct here is right. Go further. Push it further.
100%.
So yeah, and you're right. It's too clunky. There's too many. Like, again, like the grandfather and the father and the ex-boyfriend and the fiance, and like streamline this shit.
Yeah.
To simplify it. You need, because again, just having watched Terminator, it's like, we know the one threat. We know the one thing we're trying to do. Everything is connected to that one conceit. It's
That's right.
perfect. And I think you can. It's different. It's a chase movie functionally, but get it down to those core, especially those action blockbusters. Work on those kind of like core primal elements. You don't need to get too plotty. You know what I mean? Character stuff matters. Keep your plot as simple and streamlined as possible.
Exactly.
For some reason, culturally, we've gotten big into reveals. Like it has to be like, who's the bad guy? Cut that shit.
No, nobody cares. We all know it's a fairy tale. The movie's a fairy tale. We know who the freaking bad guy is. He's the one who put the girl in the tower.
Yeah. So, but with all that said, let's do our ranking, bottom to the top.
Okay.
So for me, weakest still and probably forever, X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Easily. Yep. Yeah. Origins, same with me.
Same. Okay. Then after that, Last Stand.
Yep. X-Men 3.
I feel like those two are. Obviously, I'm not a huge fan of Apocalypse or Dark Phoenix, but I don't remember them being quite as bad as either of those two movies. But we'll see.
I've never seen Dark Phoenix, so
it is not great.
Yeah,
it is not great.
I saw a scene from it. I was like, nope.
And now this is the next one on my list, but understand there's a pretty significant gap between this and Last Stand, and that's First Class.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, like I don't want people thinking like,
I don't like First Class.
Yeah, First Class is just X-Men slightly movie. Better than Last Stand. Like, no, that is incorrect. It is way better than Last Stand.
Yes.
So same for you, First Class?
Yeah, same. First Class.
Okay. All right. Next for me is the Wolverine.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
What about you?
I have X-Men under as here, but it could move because like X-Men is great.
Yeah.
I think it works really, really, really well. But I think the Wolverine, it's tough. Yeah, the Wolverine works really well. You know, it's like, I don't know. I
think for me, I give X-Men the bump because first.
Yes.
And so it's the hurdle it needs to clear is steeper.
You're right. Yeah, no, it's the Wolverine.
Yeah. So then X1, and of course, top of the list right now, X2.
Easily. Yeah.
So we will see how that ranking stands. Next time, I believe, will be Days of Future Past.
Yes. 2014.
Yeah, and then give or take a Deadpool movie. It's going to be rough sailing after Days of Future Past.
It's going to be rough. 2 years between Days of Future Past and Deadpool, by the way.
Yeah, and we're back to Bryan Singer, which he did. I remember liking Days of Future Past.
Me too. Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see how it holds up. But Sal, before we go, where can the kids find you?
Well, while you're checking out everything here over at Only Stupid Answers, go to youtube.com/comic-pop and subscribe. Please. We just dropped an episode of Back Issues. That's our flagship show where me and my friends talk about comic books. It's a lot of fun. Check them out.
Check it out. There will be links in the description. You can find me at DJ Talks Trash at all the places, including Blue Sky now. I hope we settle on one.
I doubt it.
Well, it's just, if whatever, this is not a social media show. If DJ Talks everywhere that matters, check that out. You can find the show at Only Stupid Answers on Twitter/X. Yank the vowels out of stupid. Patreon.com/Only Stupid Answers if you want to do Spider-Versity, or if you want to listen to the audio version of this. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Everybody who joined us live, everybody who used the super chat, we really appreciate it. And we will see you all next time. Bye, everybody.